Hello students, today we will talk about tenses. What are tenses? It is defined as a form of verb which indicates the time and state of an action or event. There are three major types of tenses: present tense, past tense, and future tense. Let's take present tense. Present tense is divided into simple present tense, present progressive tense, present perfect tense, present perfect progressive tense. The first two have been already done in previous classes, so we will be talking about the last two. Let's take the example, present perfect tense. A period of time starting in the past but not yet finished. The children have watched 4 plays in the past 3 weeks. Something that has been happening but not finished. Oh, look, he has scored a goal, which means an activity is going on and he can score another goal also. When you come to present perfect progressive tense, so present perfect is already there and you are adding progression to it. It refers to events started in the past and still going on. We have been studying for 3 hours now. Let us take a break. I have been working on this article for some hours, but now I am going out. So something which is continuing. So that is why we come into progression. Let's go to past tense, simple past tense, past progressive tense, past perfect tense, and past perfect progressive tense. So let's see the examples of past perfect tense. It refers to events in the past. The children have entered the stage before the curtain went up. The motorist did not see the policeman until he had crossed the red light. Let's also see for and since. Why do we use for? We use for when we refer to a length of time. Example, I haven't seen Salma for 2 years, which means for at least 2 years I have not seen. And before 2 years I had seen her. I have been working in this office for a week now. Since, we use since when we refer to an action starting at a definite time in past. I haven't seen Anjali since we left school. I have been waiting for the bus since 9 o'clock this morning. So since 9 o'clock I have been waiting. So could be it is 10 o'clock right now, or it could be 11 o'clock. But since that time till this time I have been waiting. Let's see, talking about future. 3 areas are there: future tense, present continuous tense, going to plus verb form. So the rules here are use of present tense to talk about events in the future that are definite. The train leaves at 7:30 p.m. We are already definite that the time of the leaving the train is 7:30. With verbs like hope and plan to talk about arrangements that are not so definite. I hope you find everything in order, which means that everything should be in, would be I hope, but I'm not sure. Maybe you go to some place, go to the classroom, or you go to a certain room and you don't find everything in order. So I hope, which means 50% chances are there that it might be and 50% chances are there that it might not be. To talk about people's plans and arrangements in the future. We are going to Rajasthan for a holiday in the winter. So this is telling you about a plan which we are going to do in future. We use will or going to when we predict what is going to happen. I think the picnic is going to be a lot of fun. So a prediction is there. We use will when we are making a promise or an offer. I will help you with the decorations. I will look after the arrangements for you. So a promise. I am making a promise, and then that is why I am using the word will. We use going to for a warning when something is clearly going to happen soon. Look, those branches are going to fall, right? So we know that something is going to happen, not something good. So if branches are going to fall, we cannot be standing down because they will fall on us and we will get injured. Or look, if that tree is going to fall. So we know something bad is going to happen. So warning is being given. If the tense in the main clause is in the past, then the tense in the subordinate clause also will have to be in the past. So the difference between main clause and subordinate clause is main clause is an independent sentence which acts on its own. It is not dependent on anything else. Subordinate clause is dependent on the main clause or the independent sentence. It cannot act on its own. So if here it is in past, then the other way where on the subordinate clause also it has to be in the past. He was working in his room when the boss called him. I did the cooking because the mother was away. I cannot say I did the cooking because mother is away. I have to say mother was away. He was working in his room when the boss called him. I cannot say the boss called him. I have to say that the boss called him. Let's see another rule. When a universally true statement is made in the subordinate clause or the subordinate clause is introduced by than, then it can be in any tense. Newton claimed that every action has equal and opposite reaction. If the tense in the main clause is in the present, the verb in the subordinate clause can be in any tense required by the context. It doesn't matter to her where she will work. So we are talking about future tense. I insist that you finish this chapter now. Tenses in conditionals, they are used in simple present tense and simple past tense. Tenses and conditionals. Sentences that have clauses which start with if are called conditional sentences. If we use the simple present tense or simple past tense in both the if clauses and the main clause. Conditional sentences in the present can talk about what are the areas, general truths, present and past habits likely to happen, things which are likely to happen. Thus, any present tense can be used in the if clause with any modal in the main clause. Conditional sentences in the past tense can talk about something that we wish for, but cannot happen. Would have happened, but hasn't happened. So these are the areas which you have to keep in mind. Here we use the past tense to talk about what we wish for in the present. If I were lost, and the past perfect tense for the past if I had switched off the gas. We also use the past tense of the modal would or could, will or can. In all conditional sentences, if we use if as a common expression. So let's take the example. Giving advice, if I were you, I would leave early. Responding to a request, if I can, I will take him with me. Making an offer, if you like, we have lunch now. Thank you, children.